Live from Candace Cameron Bure's Great American Family All-American White Jesus Christmas Movie Premiere White Carpet, sponsored by Wives and Mothers Against Vaccines, and the remaining M&M candy people that haven't been turned non-binary, I'm Michelle Visage.
And I'm Ross Matthews. We're broadcasting to your living room / Great Hall with Fundy, the only streaming service for heterosexual babies who can read the Bible and hate gay people.
We've got such a special program for you today.
In partnership with Great American Family, we can exclusively reveal a portion of the Titan of Christian Cable's Christmas new movie lineup.
That's right. It's been another year of the sun rotating around a flat earth, and white Jesus' birthday is upon us yet again. Let's begin.
Destined at Christmas. Two people meet amid Black Friday shopping madness, but there's a definite spark between them. When a power outage causes some panic at a store, the couple gets separated. With Christmas coming, there should be plenty of distractions, but neither can forget the other.
And don't forget Catering Christmas. A fledgling caterer is hired by a perfectionist director of the renowned Harrison Foundation to cater this year's annual Christmas gala dinner. Things get complicated when she falls for her boss's nephew, a photographer with no desire to take over the family foundation, until his aunt assigns him the task of making sure that catered dinner goes perfectly.
There's also a royal Christmas on ice. Looking to escape his royal life, a dashing prince comes to the United States to start a business in a small town in upstate New York and winds up falling for a former Olympic ice skater.
Or Christmas at Pine Valley. Natalie writes a blog that leads people to accidentally believe her farm is a family-owned and run, when it is in fact a collection of friends who are chosen family. Reporter Josh is intrigued by the family story, traveling to the farm to write an article. When Josh begins interviewing the family, they maintain the story, fearing the truth will cause them to lose everything during the busiest time of year.
And my personal favorite, my favorite Christmas tree. Kyle is a skilled genealogy researcher who's made a thriving business of putting together family trees. When she comes across new information regarding her mother's mysterious extended family, Kyla and her sister travel to the charming town of Conifer, hoping to piece together their ancestry. The search leads Kyle to a generations-old Christmas tree farm, its stubborn, handsome owner, and potentially love.
Or my personal favorite, Christmas on Candy Cane Lane. Ivy struggles with the long shadow cast by her late mother, Muriel, the darling of Icicle Falls, head of the Candy Cane Lights Extravaganza, owner of the Christmas house, and a former TV star known adoringly as the Christmas Maven. This Christmas, a series of comical and mysterious events bring the town together in a master stroke of perfection only the Christmas Maven herself could appreciate.
But don't forget B&B Mary. Renowned luxury travel blogger Tracy Moore is invited to a Christmas time getaway in exchange for a review of a small town B&B. Despite her initial reservations, she finds herself wanting to help the property and falling for the owner's handsome son, Graham, who helps her learn that every experience can be a 5-star when shared with kindred spirits.
Or Prince for the Holidays. Madison, an aspiring musician, jokingly tells her overbearing family that she's dating the prince of a small European nation. The joke goes too far as her friend and coworker Sebastian is roped into impersonating the prince while visiting her family in New Jersey. Little does Madison know that Sebastian happens to be hiding a royal secret.
And last but not least, we have Crafting Christmas. Over the week leading up to Christmas, Charlotte tries to capture her own unique style in the local art scene while also helping her mother run the family restaurant. Disheartened and struggling to find time for her art, Charlotte throws out her last painting, only to discover that it's been anonymously submitted to the Christmas Arts Festival. It turns out that Wyatt, a visiting artist, stumbled upon her discarded work and is now using the festival's exposure to find its mysterious creator, who has stolen his heart with her craft.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. My producer's calling us. It seems that the M&M company has announced that the last 2 remaining M&M people that were sponsoring this event have actually come out as transgender. Okay.
Oh my God.
They're shutting us down. They're shutting us. Okay. Thank you again, everyone. My name has been Michelle Visage and
this is Ross Matthews.
And we're coming at you live from Candace Cameron Bure's Great American Family All-American White Jesus Christmas Movie Premiere White Carpet, sponsored by Wives and Mothers Against Vaccines and no candy people from the M&M's company.
That's right.
These gays, they're trying to murder me.
Come on, if you know the words, let's go.
What do I think of her?
Yes.
I don't think of her.
Bitch. Glass of red wine.
pusher. I think you get the picture, bitch.
Here I go.
Read about that in the New York fucking Post.
That's so weird. I feel like I just woke up from the strangest dream.
I have this like raging headache.
I feel like, did you have a dream that I was Michelle Visage and you were...
I was Ross Matthews, right?
And we were like...
Stop.
Okay.
This is crazy.
I just remember that we were on a red carpet event sponsored by like the non-binary M&Ms.
I think so.
That's so weird.
I remember seeing the colors around and the lights and everything.
I think we've been recording this podcast together too long because that was so strange. I don't think anything has ever happened to us here like that on Eating for Free, the podcast recording live from the absolute edge of the internet. My name is Joan Summers.
And this is your local artisan, Matthew Lawson.
And I'm a local gossip. I just forgot to say that because my migraine from the traumatic experience of impersonating Michelle Visage was just blinding me to
it actually
my
did
true
push it
identity.
over the edge. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you know when you get hit in the head too hard and your vision kind of splits up a little bit. It's like on one out of one eye I see Michelle Visage, out of the other eye I see Joan Summers. I just see myself as Michelle Visage doing the steps choreo in the mirror. She's got to win those. She's got to win those like niche dancing competitions in small European nations somehow.
You know, we know the devil works hard, but Michelle Visage does work harder.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
It's actually a fact.
So we're here today, everyone. If you couldn't tell from our cold open, that's what it's called, a cold open in the business.
Yes, we're professionals here.
We are going to be talking about a topic that we have been teasing, promising, wishing, praying, hoping, preaching about for quite some time now. This is brought to you by our patrons who have supported us so much and allowed us to really have some fun with this podcast this year. And so this episode is a love letter to our patrons in many ways, but it is also the culmination of a now like 6-month reporting journey that you and I have been on
it really
over
has
the
been.
last few series we've ran.
Yeah, I think we started talking about this in like July. Pretty much.
Absolutely. Yes.
Everything with Candace Cameron Bure, honey.
Absolutely.
It's all been leading up to this.
And so we're going to talk about Great American Family. It is a streaming service from hell, sponsored by the absolute worst people alive, and ran by an egomaniacal, absolute freak of nature who has a dream that one day his little streaming service that could will defeat the evil of Hollywood and permanently banish gay people, sex, and anything not doing with Christianity from streaming services forever. And he will use the power of love, Jesus, Candace Cameron Bure, and the spirit of white Jesus at Christmas to do it.
Who's very real and in this room right now, actually watching us, judging us, about to smite us.
So before we get to Bill Abbott and the little engine that could, known as Great American Family, the first part of this episode, which will continue next week, it's going to be a 2-part series that we're going to run to end the
How many
year
notes
out.
you got, Mama?
Absolutely.
We can't do this in 60 minutes.
You know, it was going to be one of those things where I was like, oh, it'll be like a fun, like Christmas episode. And then like
a mini deep
always
dive.
experience here on this podcast, I get like 6 hours into the research and I like text you,
actually,
I have bad news. There's actually going to be multiple
there
parts.
are graphs in this thing.
Oh, there's many graphs.
There's tables, there's measurement systems. I don't understand.
Not necessarily true that we are going to be doing 2 parts. It's technically going to be 4 parts because we're going to be watching 2 Great American Family.
Oh my God, you're
Christmas
right.
movies. And that will exclusively
Well, that's on the bonus
stream
extended
on,
edition on Patreon.
That'll be exclusively
Absolutely.
streaming on Patreon. So if you want to hear us actually like dissect and react to some of the movies we're going to talk about today, sign up for Patreon. It is a great way to support this show. You can go to patreon.com/eating for free. But I digress. Let's get into Great American Family controversy first and foremost. Because
we gotta give a little
before we
context, girl. We gotta color
absolutely.
it in.
You know, we've been talking about this channel for about 6 months now. If you go back and you listen to our older Hot Topics episodes, you'll hear us talking about Candace Cameron Bure's like very dramatic move to the then recently renamed Great American Family channel. It was a new channel formerly known as Great American Country that before being acquired by Bill Abbott, the former head of the Hallmark Channel and Crown Media, ran almost exclusively country programming as well as some like classic TV.
Yeah, it's
Now,
like old 60s sitcoms kind of thing, right?
that is not true anymore. Now it is almost exclusively a Christian country Christmas movie channel that also streams Happy Days almost 24/7.
Oh, good God.
I think it's called Happy Days. Isn't that the show?
That
Yeah.
is it,
And like old episodes of like Home on the Range. And that's not a real show, but it's like could be.
There is a real one there, but
There is like
surely.
a show maybe there, but who knows? Oh, sorry. It's not Home on the Range. It's The Lone Ranger.
There it is.
So
I was
it like
felt familiar.
If it's not Christmas time and you tune in to Great American Family, you're going to see something like Facts of Life or Father Knows Best or Full House or Fuller House or I Dream of Jeannie. Like it doesn't have any original
Giving
programming
very
of its
white
own.
and very country Christian American.
The original family programming that it has is almost exclusively a slate of 40 Christmas movies, 21 from this year and 19 from last year. So
God.
you can really see that it is a channel with a mission, and that mission is to take down the Hallmark Channel, which Great American Families, Bill Abbott, used to run. But why does he have such a vendetta against the Hallmark Channel? What could possibly motivate him to acquire a little-known, barely watched country music channel on cable that most people don't even get in the basic package and
if I
turn
remember
it
correctly,
into
you had
a
to, like,
righteous
text a
weapon
number.
for Jesus?
He did like text a number, like go to a website. It's like very
Yes.
kind of hard to access.
Absolutely.
And it's literally for Christian nationalism.
Yes. But why? That is, I think, the question that I became extremely obsessed with over the course of this episode, and which we will hope to unravel by the end of the episode next week. So,
Because I have my theories, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they're too simple.
Hopefully,
for how much
you
more
will keep
complex
tuning
it's
in.
about to get.
But let's dive in. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the Hallmark Channel chief, Bill Abbott, stepping down in January 2020 from Crown Media in the wake of an ad controversy. So I'm getting this from Deadline. This is from January 2020. So we're going to start all the way at the beginning of this story because it really will set up kind of where we go from here. So Crown Media Family Network CEO, and I'm getting this directly from Deadline back in 2020, and it's almost weird to read something, by the way,
Right before
from
COVID.
the pre-COVID era, like
It
the
is an era.
last
It is a-
truly normal pre-COVID moment, because it is
fragment of
like
reality.
if only everyone involved in the writing, making, and at the center of this story knew what was going to happen 2 months later. And I have some theories about what COVID might have done to
Oh, very interesting.
not just Bill Abbott, but Great American Family's like kind of flop and failure over the last 2 years.
Interesting.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
So, Crown Family Media Network CEO Bill Abbott is stepping down, getting this directly from Deadline again, quote, barely after a month after the Hallmark Channel's handling of a same-sex ad-created controversy. Abbott's last day at the company will be Friday. In a press release confirming the news, parent Hallmark Cards Incorporated did not allude to the backlash over the treatment of the ad, which was pulled and then restored days later. But insiders tell Deadline it prompted the top exec's exit. Quote, after 11 years, Bill Abbott, president and CEO of Crown Media, is leaving the company, said Mike Perry, president and CEO of Hallmark Cards Incorporated. In the release, quote, I want to thank Bill for his many years of success and contributions to Crown Media and wish him continued success. Now, Deadline summarizes the ad, which I will also summarize. So, the ad, which aired in December 2019, and which I remember us talking about at the time, either in a Leftovers episode or on the main feed, the wedding registry Zola.com ran an advertisement on Hallmark Channel that featured
remember
a
this now.
same-sex
Yes.
couple in which two women exchanged vows, later kissed, and celebrated their wedding. Conservative groups 1 Million Moms attacked the ad, and this is again from Deadline, for, quote, not being family-friendly. After it was pulled, Hallmark faced an outcry from the public, and according to people that spoke to Deadline, the many people at the network themselves also expressed their preference for restoring the ad quickly, while CEO Bill Abbott went against the wishes of the employees at Crown Media and kept the ad off the air due to his own personal politics. So you can kind of see a little bit where we're headed here.
Yes,
So,
definitely. A little persecution complex, I think,
yes.
is building.
So, quote from Deadline, quote, "Before the storm, after the ad, Abbott presided over a period of growth and visibility for Hallmark and its smaller sibling outlets. Christmas programming and regular opportunities for seasoned A-list stars continued to attract viewer and press attention for Hallmark on Abbott's watch." Perry, who gave this quote Perry, who gave the quote previously, he's the president and CEO of Hallmark Cards, said that he had confidence in the team staying on to run the company's media networks and that he would personally lead the search for a new CEO. Quote, "In a time when there is immense competition among television networks and streaming services, it is more important than ever that we find new ways to grow our business and continue to produce high quality programming that resonates with our growing audiences."
Well, because famously, we've seen the last 10 years, marketing to gays is a cash cow.
Yes.
And why would you miss the opportunity?
And it's also important to note here. So one thing that we will get into in much more detail in the second episode is that Hallmark, specifically the Hallmark Channel, was not just the center of an ad controversy about a gay couple in the ad. It had also faced immense criticism from people online and people, including me, who had written about it, that their programming was incredibly white.
Oh, yeah,
not just
absolutely.
heterosexual, but extremely white. I actually ran a bracket in the early days of my tenure at
God, yes,
Jezebel,
I
in
remember
which
these,
I
the pie charts,
went
Mama.
through not just Hallmark, but also Lifetime and Netflix,
Absolutely.
and taxonomized the movies that were premiering at the time. We were right in the midst of a Baker, stories about bakers were decreasing, stories about princes and secret royals were
You're tracking the
increasing.
tropes and the aesthetics of these movies.
And I noted at the time, alongside other media critics who were kind of on the beat of the Christmas movie boom, which really happened after streaming, right? Hallmark Christmas movies, Lifetime Christmas movies have always been a thing. We've always had 28 Days of Christmas kind of programming, but because of streaming and the availability of media wherever people were, Christmas became not just a, commercial, growth market for toys and fashion and whatever, but
Christmas
cable,
is
TV,
half of all retail sales for the year of the U.S.
Yeah.
economy.
TV also experienced a lot of growth during
Yes.
Christmas as well, and extremely high viewership. And so Hallmark had cashed in on that, but throughout this boom where they were premiering 20, 30 new movies a year, the majority of them were led by white people and also straight couples, famously. And so,
and very traditional American white things, the culture, the writing, the aesthetics,
and a lot of it,
doing.
I think, is also important to note. And something that I noted back in my early reporting about this is a lot of the stories not just featured vaguely religious metaphors, but a lot of ideas that were embedded within Hallmark's programming was that America was sinful, that the big city corrupted you, and that
it's always about the vicious big
women
city.
having careers was ultimately a hindrance, and
the love
we
is
needed
back
to
at
return to
home.
the land. We needed to move back home. That true love was in the suburbs, that true love was in a small town.
Domesticity
that,
and families always
the
the
big
priority.
city is a place where it's evil and drugs and alcohol and you get cheated on, and then you go home and you fall in love with a man who runs a lumber mill in a town of
And maybe he lost
2,000
his wife,
people.
maybe he lost his
Yes.
job, but he's making it work.
But
in
he's
this,
making it work because of
this
Jesus.
little small town that supports
Jesus
him.
and his little daughter named Mary Magdalene, and they look at you with their little puppy eyes and you're like, that's right. I don't need to be a lawyer. I don't need to pursue a job in
Put
writing.
down the girl boss equipment.
I can
Get your hand in this bread.
I should quit my job and become a small town teacher for orphans in a city called Hollybrook. So
or as we saw in one of those ones in the cold open, conifers or something.
yeah. So I think that that's also really important to note, and I think that it reflects Bill Abbott's politics and the kind of programming
course.
that he pushed. Now, that sort of programming and his directives to the Hallmark employees will come up later. So just keep it in the back of your mind while we kind of get into more contemporary news about Great American Family and really the impetus for why we're talking about them at all today. So we're going to skip ahead to November 15th, 2022. This was a very recent story that we talked about a few months ago or last month, but we're going to refresh you all here just in case you didn't hear it at the time or if, this is something that you forgot about. So you might have heard that Candace Cameron Bure has been beefing with the entire internet for about a solid year now.
Also specifically Jojo Siwa.
Specifically Jojo Siwa.
Yeah.
The Siwanators.
I still can't say that genuinely. It doesn't feel like a real word. I mean, I guess it isn't.
The Siwanators have, been lined up outside our house. So this is from People, but this was reported everywhere. This is from November 15th again. Candace Cameron Bure says Great American Family projects will focus on traditional marriage. Now, this is summarizing an article that was in the Wall Street Journal, but it was behind a paywall. And the Wall Street Journal is very good at removing unpaywalled versions from the web archive. So we are getting the People magazine summary.
Great stuff.
So in an interview with the Wall Street Journal published Monday preceding November 15th, Candace Cameron Bure had said, quote, I think that Great American Family will keep traditional marriage at the core when asked about the subject of diversity at the network and specifically whether it was going to promote, gay couples or quote unquote alternative lifestyles as the, religious right might describe it. Bill Abbott, the former CEO of Hallmark Channel, who now runs GAF, Great American Family.
They really market tested that
added, if featuring same-sex couples, quote, it's certainly the year 2022, so we're aware of the trends.
Oh
There's
my God.
no whiteboard that says yes, this, or no, we'll never go there. And again, the answer at the time was perplexing, but a month later, knowing what I know now, it's so blatantly,
kind of, yeah.
I'm not telling you no, but it's a no, right? Like,
They're kind of more saying we're looking at it and we're collectively agreeing silently not to touch it.
yeah, no, my favorite is...
We're not going to put it in paper, though, because that would get us in trouble
There's
with
no
the government.
whiteboard. There's no whiteboard that says no gay people because no gay people is built into the ethos of our company. We don't really need to say it. Okay, so a representative for GAF after this... Anne Bure did not respond to People's request for comment at the time about this. And this was like pre the internet picking up this, celebrities having, words with her, JoJo
Former
Siwa.
co-stars saying they don't support
this
what
was
Candace says.
Right before anything really happened about this. So the channel currently has plans to air a, quote, more diverse lineup this year. So Bure exited the Hallmark Channel in April 2022, which she worked with for over a decade. And People notes that as of November 15th, 2022, the channel, speaking of Hallmark, had plans to air a more diverse lineup this year, including an upcoming movie, The Holiday Sitter, which featured an LGBTQ love story. It's about two gay guys. Bure told the Wall Street Journal also that Great American Family has no plans to do the same, but will instead focus on other stories like that of her first movie with the network, A Christmas ... Present, which will premiere on Great American Family this month. The movie will see Bure as a real estate agent, described by GAF as a, quote, overly scheduled real estate agent and type A mom who takes her family to spend Christmas with her widowed brother and his daughter Maggie, and her brother have decidedly different expectations for the holidays. Through a series of transformative events, Maggie learns to embrace the reason for the season, which is Jesus.
Transformation means like evangelizing her life.
Yeah. And again, what did we just talk about? Girl bosses need to be cut off at the knees.
Overscheduled type A.
Oh boy.
She's independent and she's busy.
And the funny thing is,
how horrible.
I would probably describe Candace Cameron Bure as overscheduled and type A, but that's neither here nor there. So then we are going to cut to November 5th. Now, this is after the controversy. December 5th, excuse me. This is after the controversy. We've already covered the controversy very recently and extensively, so just go back and listen. We talked not just about JoJo Siwa's opinions about this, but Candace Cameron Bure gave a statement in which she was like, gay people exist, and I like them or I don't, but it doesn't really matter because Jesus is love, and gay people can know about Jesus too. You know,
she's not fucking up that executive producer bag. Let me tell you.
Absolutely
Or is
not.
she like lead creative director of this
she's
channel?
an executive at the network.
Oh my God.
At Great American Family.
Yeah, Great American Family, yes.
Now, This is from Variety, and it's December 5th. Now, this is something that we missed because we were discussing the Balenciaga controversy quite in detail. So, Neal Bledsoe exits Great American Family in support of LGBTQ community and after Candace Cameron Bure drama. So, Neal Bledsoe is another one of those Hallmark expats who followed Candace Cameron Bure to Great American Family.
And already has
famously
left.
Was like, ooh, he's one of the stars with like Danica McKellar, who's like leaving Hallmark. Great American Family is the Hallmark killer, you know? Like,
I mean, to be fair, there are quite literally like millions, if not tens of millions, of Americans who are like deeply invested in this
Hallmark.
content.
In
Specifically,
Hallmark.
yes. And are following and know these
we
people.
are going to get into the numbers at Great American Family.
Okay.
But just keep it in your mind. So, Neal Bledsoe, this is from Variety, quote, is distancing himself from Great American Family. In an exclusive statement to Variety, the actor who starred in 2021's The Winter Palace and this year's Christmas at the Drive-In explained his choice to step away from the Bill Abbott-led network following recent remarks made by both the CEO and Candace Cameron Bure, the chief creative officer.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Quote, I hope GAF will change, but until everyone can be represented in their films with pride, my choice is clear. I look forward to working with creators who put no limits on the stories we tell and follow through on their message of values with open arms. My life wouldn't be where it is today without the love, support, and guidance of the LGBTQIA community. From my mentors in college to the myriad agents and managers, writers, directors, teachers, and colleagues, and of course, my dear friends and family who have all touched my life. I owe them a great debt. As someone who has struggled as a young man with our society's extremely narrow definition of masculinity, it was their community that provided me with refuge and a guiding light when my life felt lost. And now I cannot stand up for that. If I cannot stand up for that community in their time of need, my debt to them means nothing. So I want to be very clear. My support for the LGBTQIA plus community is unconditional. Nothing is worth my silence or the ability to live and love freely in a world that we are lucky enough to share with them. You may have noticed that I have been unusually silent at a time when I should have been promoting a holiday film, a film with the express purpose of bringing everyone comfort in a time of great tumult and change. But I cannot continue with business as usual. I cannot take comfort from, nor will I give refuge to, those who excuse exclusion and promote division in any way, shape, or form. Everyone is entitled to their beliefs, and these are mine. The recent comments made by leadership at Great American Family are hurtful, wrong, and reflect an ideology that prioritizes judgment over love. I was raised as a Christian and believe in the essential message of love and forgiveness. That said, I could never forgive myself for continuing my relationship with a network that actively chooses to exclude the LGBTQIA plus community. Freedoms of speech or religion, or even the freedom to express beliefs that I might vehemently disagree with, are not the issue here. This is about someone who is in an executive position speaking about deliberate exclusion on behalf of an entire network. This is why the phrase traditional marriage is as odious as it is baffling. Not simply wrong in its morality, it's also a moot point when you consider that most romantic movies don't feature married couples at all, nor even weddings, but simply people meeting and falling in love. To describe that love and the full human representation of the community as a, quote, trend is also both troubling and confusing. When institutions such as the Mormon Church support marriage equality and join the vast majority of Americans who already believe in the fundamental right to love who and how we please, and when that right is about to be codified into the law of the land, one has to ask what are the trends, but whether any organization that stands against such love would be trending towards the dustbin of history. As I thought about this statement, I reached out to a dear friend of mine for guidance, a man who grew up out and brown in the South when it was even more dangerous to do so than it is now. He reminded me of the courage of Elizabeth Taylor, who visited the lonely pariahs dying of AIDS in Reagan's America when our society wanted nothing to do with them. Her compassion was neither cool nor woke nor virtue signal. It was just the right thing to do, especially when most of our culture chose cruelty. Decades later, it galls me to think that some among us are still finding ways to justify a crueler world under the cloak of faith, tradition, or even worth audience share. As an artist, I yearn to be proud of the work I create, but the thought of my work that could be used to deliberately discriminate against anyone horrifies and infuriates me. I hope Great American Family will change, but until everyone can be represented in their films with pride, my choice is clear. I look forward to working with creators who put no limits on the stories we tell and follow through on their message of values with open arms. In that spirit, I will be making a donation to True Colors United, and if these words have any resonance with you, I hope you will join me.
He really was like, fuck.
He was
that
like, let me read.
fucking
He was like, let me
channel.
read.
Like, let me
No.
take out the quill and pen.
It is camp that he compares himself to Elizabeth, you know.
We can move past that.
He compares himself to Lizzie Taylor going to visit AIDS patients.
And
Like,
it's
I
not
mean,
woke for her to do that, by the way. Don't forget that part.
It's not woke for him to do this, but I did think it was kind of camp that he brings up Elizabeth Taylor
In Reagan's
Reagan.
America.
I was like, okay, we're going all the way there.
I'm just almost shocked they even went to the new channel having felt this serious about this kind of topic.
Well, okay, so this
But-
is the thing that I think is very interesting. Okay, now, we've talked about this generally speaking with like mass culture. And I'm thinking about this a lot when we had our Balenciaga discussion last week. And the Balenciaga discussion last week really ties in so many ways to this episode. But there is a growing contingent of people in this country, and specifically people who consume media in this country, who want the media that they consume to tell them if they are a good or bad person, or to validate them and their beliefs as good, morally just,
Yes.
positive,
it
etc.
needs to be almost like an objective experience with
Yes.
clear values
Yes.
that are
You
celebrated.
know, the idea that art is a moral lesson, you know, like Aesop's fables.
Almost like a children's book is
no,
what they're looking for.
Exactly.
And even
okay?
then, one of those very simple children's
And
books.
I think that there are a variety of players within that media environment, like Bill Abbott and Candace Cameron Bure, who have horrible intentions. Candace Cameron Bure wants a network and wants to creatively control a network in which white people are the focus, Jesus is at the wheel, and gay people don't exist. I think that that's basically a factually true statement at this point. Allegedly, because she hasn't actually said it, but her statements as a critic and as just a passing journalist, you know, observer to
the
everything that
fact
she
that
has
the
said,
statements come out
as well
more
as the
than a
fact
week
that, you know,
ago.
her brother in lockdown held anti-COVID restriction
I forgot about that.
gatherings.
We talked about
we
that
know what
in
her family's
2021.
politics are, and
Yes.
she supported him in his like anti-COVID restriction Jesus caroling in a parking lot. Remember?
I can't believe that word got filed very far deep in my brain, but yes, I do remember now.
And I'm just saying that, like, I think that there are people like Candace and Bill Abbott, right, who have like an express interest in restricting art and promoting a culture that is discriminatory, white supremacist, Christian fundamentalist, and actively homophobic.
And make sure to focus on it not being political, but just a personal individualist
Yes.
choice, lifestyle choice.
Yes, that I'm not
It's a
imposing on
private
you.
act that is
Yes.
completely devoid of any
Yes,
critique
because
or
you
problems.
look at Candace Cameron Bure's statements about all this, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she remains very surface level,
Yes,
right?
extremely
She
neutral.
somehow plays both the victim as someone who's misunderstood and I'm all about love, while also actively saying in interviews that there's no plans to feature same-sex couples and that there's not really any need to, that's not really what they want because it's all about traditional marriage. And then when asked about traditional marriage, you know, does the classic like libs of TikTok, classic like Twitter white supremacist shit poster tactic of like, oh my God, like you're taking me out of context. That's not what I meant. You know, it's actually, it just means you have a sick mind that you thought that of what I said,
Well,
right?
that's
It's
what her
actually
daughter was
you.
saying on Instagram, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. She was like, God has a plan and the people are trying to misrepresent you and take you down because they don't believe in God and they don't believe in the future that you want.
Now, on the other hand, I think it is safe to say that a lot of actors are self-involved, also individualistic,
You don't say.
and pilled that the cable movies that they create mean something in this world.
Yes.
And I'm not
What it means?
casting
I don't know, girl.
I'm not casting aspersions on the cable actor Christmas movie trade, okay? We're podcast hosts, and that's like one step above board game creator, okay? Like we are at the same level of cultural importance as the
Humble us real
people
quick.
who like write the jokes underneath the Snapple bottle tops, okay? Like, let's not pretend. But what I'm just saying is that, like, if you've ever actually had to speak to an actor for any length of time, they will just wax poetically about what it is that they do and not really bring those politics into it, right? It's about the craft. It's like,
Well, they're the creator.
yeah, it's like,
For the lack of a better word.
it's like you say, why would people like this follow Bill Abbott? I think it's because people like Neal, like some of the people like Neal are just like actors who need work.
Yes.
You know?
Yes,
Actors
that is the vibe.
who got a lot of work at Lifetime, got a lot of work at Hallmark, and then are now being promised that they're going to be like the exclusive stars of Great American Family. And to a lot of people in Hollywood, a town that is notoriously cutthroat and exclusionary.
Yeah. To say
It
something
is
like this.
extremely enticing to tell an actor that they're going to get to film 5 movies before the end of the year. So
It's
you can it
really
makes
unheard
sense.
of, honestly.
No,
For, like,
makes
90%
total
of the
sense
people
why
in the
they would
acting
follow,
pool.
right? I don't think,
And that's what makes it even
I think
shocking
it
that they
is-
would say something so public about that.
I think it is an incorrect characterization to say that the majority of the actors that followed Bill Abbott to the Hallmark Channel, I mean, from the Hallmark Channel to Great American Family, are politically motivated.
Yes, I definitely understand
But
that.
I think the key is that enough of them are that it is significant. Enough are politically motivated,
like, I
for
think-
it to be significant.
Or kind of like how I believe most of America operates. A lot of people just don't care enough.
Yes.
And thereby, and we've said this many times, thereby maybe inadvertently endorse and contribute to this phenomenon.
and listen.
And should not be blameless.
Listen.
You can't just claim innocence when you're doing something
If
like this.
you
but-
have gone to a job, you have 100% been party to something fucked up being said.
Oh, yes.
Something wild happening, something you don't agree with, a boss saying things that are evil or
don't
horrible.
like most Americans like hate their job
No,
and
no,
would
no.
like
That's
quit
what I'm saying.
in 5
So,
seconds
like,
if given an opportunity.
It's not really that hard to imagine Bill Abbott
Yeah.
probably spouting off some nonsense about like the Christian mission of Great American Family and everyone around him being like, sure.
And they're probably also kind of used to it.
Or
right?
like,
for the
oh,
movies
guys,
they've been making.
like guys, like the money's good, right? Like we're working right now. Like it's a recession.
you
It
know-
costs me $7 to get to my agent's office because the gas is so expensive in LA right now. Like
it's very
I'm not
true.
trying to rock the boat. I'm just trying to get paid.
Yep.
Now,
No.
let's not pretend that's all the people at Great American Family
No.
are like Neal.
No.
Because Candace has a few minions, and one of them has been very loud on social media
Really? I did not know anything
in
about
retaliation to Neal and in support of Candace.
Of course.
Now, this is the definition of a unknown element. Okay, like this is a true wild card, like rookie player in terms of celebrity gossip.
this. Sorry,
okay?
it's so juicy, honestly. Like, I love it.
If I'm gonna say this name and you say who, like literally, welcome to the 40 million other people who also said who. Now, this is from Fox News. So consider the
Great
source
start.
of who this actor spoke to when
Yes.
giving this interview.
I'm sure.
Quote, Danica McKellar weighs in on co-star's exit after Candace Bure's comments on traditional marriage.
Now let me pull up Google Images.
Now,
Let's get a face to this.
this is from Fox.
Oh, this is exactly what I was expecting. Sorry, continue.
Danica McKellar opened up about her co-star Neal Bledsoe's exit from the Great American Family Network after Candace Cameron Bure said she will not feature same-sex couples in its holiday movies. Quote, Neal is a wonderful person. He's such a great actor, and I have enjoyed working with him so much. he and I both share our love and support of the LGBTQ community for sure.
Oh?
I don't agree with his interpretation of her comments. I just didn't see them the same way the Wonder Years star told Fox News Digital at
not the
Christmas
Wonder Years.
Con Saturday.
A Christmas con?
Quote,
Of course there
McKellar's comments come on the heels of Great American Family's chief creative officer, Candace Bure, facing criticism after she told the Wall Street Journal that the network's programming will, quote, keep traditional marriage at its core. Bure has since commented on her statement with Fox News Digital, quote, all of you who know me know beyond question that I have great love and affection for all people. It absolutely breaks my heart that anyone would ever think I would intentionally want to hurt or offend anyone. Now, I'm sure that is like a boilerplate quote, but it is pretty funny for her to like speak in not just like speak in like direct language to Fox News, be
Of
like,
course.
all of you, like the Fox News listeners and viewers,
Like,
and
literally,
readers,
who else is reading this?
That's who she's speaking
She's
to.
definitely not talking about us.
No.
Absolutely not.
So,
By the way, she was the main in Christmas at Dollywood.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just looking at her her history now.
No, it's literally all Christmas
Oh,
movies.
she's from La Jolla, California.
I know. We have to do something about La Jolla. Okay. Like, that is actually...
If you know, you know. That's all I can
Okay.
say.
That's a pipeline that needs to get blown up. No, are you ready for this? Hold my hand, because this part's real good. Let's
Get through it.
McKellar continued to address her thoughts about the controversy. Quote, Bure started the sentence with, I think, which is not definitive. And she ended it with, at its core, which doesn't mean exclusively.
Come on.
I don't agree with this interpretation, but I love Neal to death and I wish him well. Okay.
Come on, break down literacy, like
She
syntax.
started the sentence with, I think. So, you know, we can't really say for sure.
You know, she's
Also-
smart. She's smart. You know what? She's
Okay.
thinking. She's thinking outside
In
the box. honey.
November, McKellar took to Instagram to share her thoughts amid Bure's comments and Bledsoe's exit. Quote, I'd like to set the record straight about something. I'm a new Christian, and I'm so grateful for that, as I always have. I celebrate all forms of healthy love between adults, and I support representation.
What?
The idea that Christianity would judge any form of love simply baffles me. I'm still new to my faith journey, but as far as I can tell, Jesus loves me and includes everyone. That's kind of his thing.
Kind of his thing, you know, like Jesus is like really supportive.
Like, okay. It's
I mean, it's just like really important to him, you know. Like if you just don't see it, I'm sorry,
guys, just so you
but we're
know,
all
like-
here for you,
Guys.
Except no fags allowed. It's like, come on now.
I just
Please.
love like guys, like Jesus actually wants us to blow up abortion clinics. That's kind of his thing. Like I mean, it's
But
right
like white
about
people
there.
are his chosen representative family, but
so
you know,
obsessed that she's done the AI art. I think that's
the red flag at this point. Are you on her Instagram? Oh, mama.
I also love that she has posted photos of this, like
Of like her
like
statement.
of her with Neal.
Oh, girl.
I also want to just share more of her statement. Quote, as always, I've always supported all loves. And I support representation. I was thrilled to have a role in a couple episodes of Home Economics earlier this year. And my husband and I were privileged to attend my good friend's beautiful wedding to his husband earlier this year in Mexico. At the time, we commented that it was one of the purest expressions of love we had ever seen.
Wow. She's like, I know
was thrilled
a gay
to have a
person.
role in a couple episodes of Home Economics.
A statement uttered by literally nobody else. The fact that she was like, I have been to a gay wedding, and it was the most beautiful love I ever saw.
But
we will never ever depict this for entertainment value whatsoever.
I'm obsessed that Neal was like, I don't know this lady. I don't know anyone. I do not care about any of you. And she's like still posting through it with photos of her and Neal, like, oh my OMG guys.
Oh my
It's
god,
so
you're right.
good.
This
It's
is
so good. She's like,
lot.
guys, like, please watch the Christmas movie. It's Christmas at the drive-in. It's really good. It's really important.
Oh, because they shot all this before he left.
Oh, yeah.
So they can.
This was filmed in like July.
Yeah, of course. Oh,
Now.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Just the veterans posting. Anyway, let me not read about
No,
that.
her Instagram is real good. It's real good.
It's as I said before, La Jolla vibes. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
I've met
it's-
this woman many a times.
You know,
For
the
sure.
fluoride has never been stronger than in a place like La Jolla, California.
Oh, she has one of those vote posts here. Don't you just hate it when you mean take a picture, but it's on video mode? Jesus Christ. Regardless, go vote. Remember how we celebrated Memorial Day and thanked all those fallen soldiers? Now we honor them by exercising our hard-earned rights. Sending you all lots of love and blessings on this beautiful Tuesday. I suppose one of those blessings is gratitude for things we have taken for granted, like the ability to vote. See what I did there? Winky face.
Don't you love the Republican, like, classic trope
Classic.
of not saying any
you voted
specifics
for,
about who you
anything
voted
you
for?
feel.
Because listen, no,
Because they're ashamed, and that's my favorite part.
I'm not giving it up to Democrats, nor am I giving it up to like liberals in Hollywood, but like,
Well, Democrats do the same thing.
no.
But definitely the Republicans love it.
Certain do, but
Yeah,
like, you know,
very
if this was
specific
like a
ones.
celebrity Democrat, they'd be like, I voted for Bernie,
They
I
would.
voted for Joe
They
Biden,
would.
Kamala Harris. But a Republican will be like, guys, isn't it so crazy we can vote? Like, you should do that. It's like our right. I literally turn into our enemy every time I see posting like that. I'm like, say it, say it, say it, say it. Okay, now.
I'm sorry, this promo for the Winter Palace, Mama, like they have Photoshop like 3.0,
No, okay.
like from 2005.
I'm gonna say this.
That
I'm always-
Santa hat is not on his head. It is photoshopped in.
We
And
got
so are
some
her elf
comments, by the
ears.
way, about the way that we speak on this podcast. Our viewers, the viewers.
They
of the
can view us
psychic-
in their mind's
yeah, oh,
eye,
yeah,
let's
they
be
can
honest.
see us clearly.
They definitely can.
They say that I always not only have said to me so much that they can actually like hear the intonation very clearly in their mind palace, like reverberating through their brain.
Yes.
But also, can I just say?
Say it,
just
girl.
say?
You can say it.
I say it too much.
You can.
Now,
Sorry, stop scrolling her Instagram. Let me get out of here. It's distracting.
I hate you more than anything. Also, can I just say that the Great American Family Christmas movie posters give, in terms of aesthetic quality,
Broke.
the same energy as a one night Go-Go Boys event at like a B-tier gay club in a small town.
Yes.
Like it's like Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy Night featuring like 3 Go-Go Boys you've never heard of and a drag queen called Dixie Sticks.
And like one of the arms is cut off. There's like a little bit of the white border where like they didn't use the refine tool
And they
correctly.
do the thing where they like have the bevel edge around
Yes,
the performers, but it's
exactly.
glowing neon and like like it looks exactly like that. Like it looks like I could go on any gay club in America's Instagram page and they have a poster for like a strip night or like a drag queen visiting from like a separate
I
country.
hate you so much. I really do.
Okay, let's continue. We've gotten off track. So we have a story from Variety, which has done a lot of really good reporting about Great American Family. I want to give it up to them for like really being on the beat here. It's why I always tell people that like the trades are such an important resource that we cannot lose as the media continues to crumble. Because like if it wasn't for places like Variety or Deadline reporting on this stuff, like
literally
so
would have
much of
nowhere else
Hollywood
to go.
history would be lost. I really don't mean to sound like I'm giving it up to Variety. They also are a pit of evil, but I digress. Okay, what is Great American Family? Everything to know about Hallmark and Lifetime's movie competitors. So I'm going to like summarize a lot of this from Variety. You can also read all of this in our links. So like we've said previously, in June 2021, the network, which was originally titled Great American Country, was acquired by GAC Media, which was a group formed by Hallmark CEO Bill Abbott and Hicks Equity Partners. In the fall of that year, the network relaunched as GAC Family. Abbott stepped down from Hallmark in 2020, like we said, after the Zola wedding registry backlash. Now, the Gag Family has changed to Great American Family, which they have gone by since August 2022. The channel became similar in content to what Abbott had created at Hallmark, including original made-for-TV movies, holiday programming, and big franchises. However, it also focuses more heavily on faith-driven programming. Gaff acquired season 2 of When Hope Calls,
Oh, Lord.
which sounds very familiar to you for what reason? Because it's a spinoff of When Calls the Heart, which was famously the show that Lori Loughlin got evicted from during Operation Varsity Blues.
Wow, it all comes together, doesn't it? Wow.
I told you this episode is really the greatest hits. Okay.
That's amazing.
Now, it also features reruns of Full House and Fuller House, which was only available on Netflix prior to the deal. It also, after Hallmark axed the Kitten Bowl special on the day of the Super Bowl, Abbott picked it up and will air the first Great American Rescue Bowl in February. So you can see that he's legitimately trying to like siphon Hallmark Channel's life essence.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
On the talent side, many people have joined the holiday movie world and basically fled Hallmark Channel to work exclusively for Great American Family. Like, literally, it's this old 50s studio system, but exclusively for cable TV holiday movies. And instead of
the world we live in.
instead of Speed, they're giving them Bibles. Like, okay. Now, these people include Trevor Donovan, Jen Lilly, Jessica Lowndes, Jesse Metcalf, Danica McKellar, Debbie Matenopoulos, Cameron Matheson, and Lori Loughlin. Oh, she's back.
Is this is after
This
everything?
Is, no,
yeah, you're right.
This
it has
is
to be
current.
That's what I'm saying. Like after
No.
the prison.
No. Bill Abbott has said that he wants Lori Loughlin to be the face of the network. I'm not joking, and we
Wow.
will get into it, I promise.
Wow.
Okay.
It's a lot of information.
In April 2022, the network also announced, obviously, that Candace Cameron Bure, who had this long-standing working relationship and had been in like a million movies for Hallmark Channel, was joining as chief creative officer to produce, star in, and create faith-filled content. Quote, "The truth is, I've always been under contract with Hallmark for a very, very long time, and those who have been absolutely wonderful to me. It just so happened that my contract was expiring when Great American Family started up. We did not start having those discussions until we were well into negotiations with Hallmark for renewing. And as every business person knows, you've got to do what's right for contracts. It didn't work out with Hallmark, and so we've started talking to Bill." Now, this is what's very interesting to me, okay? We're going to choose to believe Candace Cameron Bure, right? We're going to choose to believe that when Bill Abbott left the Hallmark Channel and subsequently formed a private equity group
Yes.
to buy Great American Country and form it as Great American Family, or previously Gaff Family, we are going to choose to believe that Candace Cameron Bure was not involved in his decision to leave, nor was she conspiring with him in any way to, leave Hallmark Channel, start this new company. But isn't it sure a coincidence that the president and CEO leaves, and shortly after, the head talent of the network also leaves with him?
I mean, like,
And not just that, but as
A
the
little
CEO, his timing to incorporate Great American Family is pretty interesting when you think about the fact that he would know when Candace's contract was up. Right?
No, this information was all very much available to him.
I am
Plus the alliances,
that
I'm sure easy to
maybe
shake
Bill
out.
Abbott would not have incorporated if Candace was going to stay at Hallmark. But also you think about it that Candace watched everything go down with Bill Abbott, right? And if she's being installed as the chief creative officer at his new network, she had to have a close working relationship with him. This man who she made
absolutely.
an innumerable amount of money for. This man who she spent 10 years creating Christmas movies and holiday movies, as well as the, what was the murder mystery movies that you loved at Hallmark?
I already was pulling them up to try to remember the Aurora Tea Garden Mysteries.
Yes. Like, she made like what, 15 of those?
Oh my God, no, there's literally like 15 of them and they're all like full 1 to 2 hour long movies.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
premiered like twice a year.
So she obviously had a working relationship with Bill Abbott, right? I'm absolutely sure that she was first party to the Zola wedding registry
Yes.
ad controversy. Mm-hmm. And no matter what she says now about like same-sex couples being like welcome at the network, and we're not saying that we can't do gay couples in movies. We're not saying anything like that. It's just about traditional marriage. She watched the CEO she followed to a new network essentially double and then triple down so hard he had to leave over an advertisement
that's
featuring
all I'm
a gay
thinking
couple.
about.
Like, she saw him literally leave the company because he refused to let gay people appear in commercials on his network and chose
And we're
to
supposed to
follow
believe
him.
that that's not a part of this. Or that that's something worth ignoring either way.
Yes.
Even if she doesn't believe that, why would you? Yeah, it's just, there's no way to spin it. There's
And
no
this
way.
is the thing, too, that really troubles me. And it really goes along with what we talked about last week with Balenciaga, where these people, like Candace, as well as Bill Abbott, know their audience, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not trying to make any generalizations about like literacy or media literacy rates amongst like Christians or Republicans or people who love these movies. But we just know that in America, if someone in a position of power tells you something, there are huge contingents of people that are just going to believe what they say at face value, right? And that's what makes things like the Balenciaga thing so controversial and also frightening to us, is that it just took a few people saying that there was some calculated child abuse ring inside of Balenciaga, as well as like a calculated effort to disseminate materials depicting child sexual abuse. And a bunch of people, millions in fact, just took that at face value and made it a crusade. And there is now a separate movie company that is exclusively trying to promote Christian values, as according to what Bill Abbott and Candace Cameron Bure has said, who is outwardly saying like, no guys, we love gay people. But also,
well, not really. They're saying they exist.
No.
And
but what I'm saying is that, you know, they're telling people, oh, like, we never said anything bad about gay people. We don't really care, you know, it's just, you know, traditional marriage. And all these viewers are people who love Candace or who have obsessed with Bill Abbott, and all the people that he's spoken to, the mommy bloggers that he's giving interviews to, and the Republican websites, and like Christian consultant groups that are trying to like eradicate R-rated movies in movie theaters. All these people that he's now associated with are disseminating these words, and there's a bunch of people just taking it at face value and being like, oh yeah, sure, Candace Cameron Bure doesn't hate gay people. When you just peel at this a little bit, and it's so obvious, and that's what makes me so infuriated. You read these comments on like page 6 and on the New York Times or on Variety or on Instagram, and it's a bunch of people being like, cancel culture warriors coming for Candace Cameron Bure. What? You can't even talk about traditional marriage now without being canceled? She didn't say anything about gay people. You're so sensitive. You're a bunch of cultural Nazis who want to control everything.
What being canceled means anymore. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean? We're just not tuning in to watch her show. We wouldn't anyway. I don't.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like it's so.
Is there a boycott being called? Is there a national effort?
It's literally like. I hate to say it, but it's like if you are famous and also in a position of power, like more than ever, it is a great time to try and fundamentally alter reality for other people, because like everyone is so susceptible to misinformation.
The cults of America would like to speak
and
with
also
you.
so susceptible to getting whipped up over literally nothing. I mean, Fox News, the way that they have covered the Candace Cameron Bure quote unquote backlash is so predictable and also baffling, and plays right into all the panic that we are already talking about on this podcast. Panic about drag queens, panic about children, panic about trans people, right? Now, one of the only Christian celebrities left standing because of the evils of Hollywood is getting driven out of Tinseltown because she's standing up to big homosexual. That's literally the tenor of like the Daily Mail or the New York Post or or like all these websites
And
that
they
are
do
run
that
by
whole thing where they're not
conservatives.
hurting anyone. This is just making their own content. Don't watch it if you don't want to. It's like, that's exactly what we're doing. We're just not going to watch it. Like, and some of us are going to say, isn't that kind of fucking weird?
But again, literally,
You would think we're like sending bombs to our house.
I will say this. You know, as much as they love to accuse gay people of being like the center of attention or of like trans people
Well.
of making everything about themselves or all the other things conservatives love to say about anyone who isn't a conservative, it is pretty funny that the ultimate hell world that Christians and conservatives alike can imagine for themselves is a world in which nobody really pays attention to them. Like, that is actually their greatest fear, right? Like,
No, because this is the cry for help to keep that relevancy and to keep the name in people's mouths.
I also want to just say this. So I got this from Parade, which now
We're really wading into some waters here.
don't ever say, you all, that I don't do the research. Okay, don't ever say that I'm not in the muck and mire. For
If you don't look at within the eye itself.
So this is from Parade this year. Quote, Lori Loughlin, this is a list of stars who went to Great American Family from Hallmark. And this is Lori Loughlin's little summary on the Parade article about this. Quote,
Oh my.
The former Hallmark darling was made persona non grata at Hallmark Channel after she was indicted and pleaded guilty to her involvement in the college admissions scandal. After serving her jail time, Loughlin made her return to television with a guest starring role on When Hope Calls, A Country Christmas, reprising her When Calls the Heart role as Abigail Stanton. Great American Family picked up a second season of When Hope Calls, which originally aired on Hallmark Movies Now, Hallmark's streaming subscription site. The second season has yet to go into production, so it remains to be seen if Abigail will remain in Brookfield. The network recently announced that Loughlin will star in her first movie since the scandal, Fall into Winter, which will debut in January 2023.
Interesting that they're waiting until after Christmas.
Well, I think that that's part of the tactic that Bill Abbott is running with Lori Loughlin.
Slow launch.
I think that there's a lot of shit going on right now with Candace, and I think debuting Loughlin at the holidays is almost too big of a thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of the funny thing, though, right? Like, in one interview, he's saying that he wants Loughlin to be the face of the network. But in another hand, he's doing a very calculated business move of debuting her movie in the beginning of the year, where only people that really care about whether or not Lori Loughlin should continue to be on TV are going to say something about it. And the people that love her are going to watch it anyways.
Duh.
Not only,
Why else would they bring her on?
you can't put her in Christmas when the maelstrom of attention is fixated on you because it is just going to be another thing. But if you can premiere it in January and receive little to no backlash for it, then you've almost like made her persona grata. I don't know if that's the opposite of persona non grata. So
I'm just shocked that like the traditional family values channel wants to put like a convict onto the show.
Now, Variety also
that's another
got a
thing.
statement exclusively from Bure when they put this out this year. She said whether or not they will feature non-Christian holiday movies, Bure told Variety, quote, I'm sure as the channel continues to build content, it will include other holidays. But I think we know the core audience and what they love is exactly how Bill originally built the Hallmark Channel, and that was Christmas and those traditional holidays. So that's going to be the focus. You got to start somewhere.
That's like literally all of it. That
No,
we've been
but that's
saying.
what I'm
That is like
saying.
she's telling on herself.
That's what I'm saying, though. Okay, Bill started the Hallmark Channel to promote a white Christian fundamentalist ideology about America, the meaning for the season, and Jesus. Okay? And she's saying, in response to asking whether there's going to be like a Hanukkah movie on the network, she's saying, well, we're modeling it after what Bill wanted for Hallmark Channel, which, as we know, is a channel with nothing but Christian Christmas movies, or, you know, no ads with gay people. That's what Hallmark wanted to be under Bill
to quite
Abbott.
literally say what Bill originally built, but also we know the core audience and what they love is specifically what Bill put on. Like, right there, Mama. Like, you just said it all.
Now, it's very interesting because by all the numbers that I have read and all of the ratings that I've crunched for both Great American Family and Hallmark,
this is exciting.
it seems like people really love the gay Christmas movies and not so much the Great American Family Christmas movies, but we're going to save that for part 2.
Oh.
We have some more to get into.
Okay.
This is from USA Today, October 31st, and it is a long interview, so we're going to round out the episode with this because just like everything else we've talked about, it really does set up just about everything for part 2, as well as really start to see, more concrete ties between the stuff we talked about in our Balenciaga episode as well, right? The cultural forces aimed directly at gay and trans people, as well as basically anyone that isn't a white Christian Republican being featured in any sort of media whatsoever. So this is from October 31st. Again, this predates, the true backlash to the scandal. This was part of the early push for the Christmas movies. So this was like on a press run that Candace was doing. She was giving a lot of interviews to the Wall Street Journal, to Variety, and then to USA Today. So this is kind of an unfiltered look at really what it is that she wants. So Hallmark Channel, consistently the highest rated purveyor of feel-good features, sits atop the glistening snowy heap of offerings. But as the network rolls out a slate of 31 holiday films as part of its Countdown to Christmas franchise, up nearly 50% from 5 years ago.
Wow.
And premiering a week earlier in October,
31
it faces
new films.
Competition from rivals old and new. In 2017, Lifetime had aired 6 holiday originals. This year's lineup features 26. Netflix is gifting viewers 6 seasonal selections, including one starring Lindsay Lohan. The offerings emulate lyrics from the 12 Days of Christmas, 10 holiday movies from BET, 4 from Discovery Plus, 3 from CBS, 3 from HBO Max, and even 1 from Fox Nation. VH1, Comedy Central, and Paramount Networks also won in on the reindeer ratings games. Now, quote, "I feel imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, first of all," says Lisa Hamilton Daly, head of programming at Hallmark Media. "They see that we've had success in this space. What differentiates us, though, is that there's such an experience around Hallmark. This is really something that is our Super Bowl. It is what we gear up for the whole year." But a new competitor hopes to interrupt the channel's Christmas joy, one that might feel like Hallmark's ghost of Countdown to Christmas past. Bill Abbott, who developed Countdown to Christmas, left his post as president and CEO of Hallmark Channel's parent company in early 2020 and co-founded Great American Media, which relaunched Discovery's former music channel Great American Country as Great American Family in September 2021. Abbott's new network has a holiday movie franchise of its own, Great American Christmas. Hallmark announced Abbott's departure in 2020. We've gone over that. Hallmark reversed the decision following the backlash after Abbott left, and Hallmark Cards president and CEO Mike Perry apologized for yanking the ads at all. Hillary Burton, who starred in several Hallmark movies. Now, this is the part that really starts to bring it all together. Quote, alleged in a series of December 2019 tweets that the channel resisted her efforts to make a project more inclusive by adding, quote, an LGBTQ character, an interracial couple, and diverse casting to a script. Ooh. Burton says she exited the project after the network told her to, quote, take it or leave it. Quote, the bigotry comes from the top and permeates the whole deal at Hallmark. The network did not comment on Burton's tweets at the time.
Ooh, from the top, you say?
From the top.
I wonder who.
From Bill Abbott down. All the way to Candace. And what's her name? Let me look. Danica McKellar? Who? Okay, so Abbott tells USA Today that he left Hallmark because he was, quote, just ready for something different.
Sure.
Different being something without gay people. But he doesn't hesitate about his desire to dethrone Hallmark. Now, again, remember that this is a man with a mission. A man who literally created a channel exclusively to spite Hallmark for putting gay people on television.
I mean, what else is it? Also, I could assume from the behavior we've already been illustrated by multiple parties working for and around Bill that I'm sure this was a very much building sentiment, maybe after a special election that happened a few years ago.
Oh, boy.
And some other protests and maybe some other
2020?
things.
Oh, what happened in 2020? I don't seem to remember. Such a long time ago.
There's some divisions that happened in
the
this
fog
country
of
that
history
might
and
feel
war
away.
obscures so much.
The COVID brain fog. You said?
Okay. Quote, we believe we'll be the leader in quality family entertainment in this space, he says, admitting, quote, that's a lofty challenge and challenging objective, but we think we have the team in place to do it and the experience to do it. Abbott is relying heavily on Bure to reach his goal of triumphing over Hallmark. Quote, she's not only understands the audience, she understands where some of the untapped talent is in the business, and that's front of the screen and behind the screen, and having resources that, quite frankly, we never had at Hallmark, says Abbott. We were making decisions based on recommendations of producers or our own viewing, and both of those are probably flawed. Bure says the network will, quote, lean into the faith element.
There it is.
Which translates on screen as, quote, more storytelling about Christian faith and talking about God, and not just making God a general statement of belief, but actually talking about Jesus and more specifics of the Christian faith.
So that's the untapped resources, is the Bible, I'm assuming.
Now, this is from directly, once again, USA Today. Quote, what's unclear is how inclusive Great American Family programming will be. 3 of this year's 18 films, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Christmas on Candy Cane Lane, and I'm Glad It's Christmas, feature people of color in starring roles. This year's movies do not include any storylines involving same-sex couples.
3 of 18 films just even possess people of color in starring roles. And absolutely no
And
same-sex
to be
couples.
clear, 2 of those movies are ensemble casts. So the starring roles are like 6 people. So Max, there's like 3 people of color in any of the 18 movies in any sort of visible way.
Oh, good God.
Now, this is also very interesting. So Bure did not just say the same-sex marriage comments to Wall Street Journal. That's just what everyone read first. Now,
Oh, really?
when asked if Great American Family plans to mirror Hallmark's newfound inclusivity, and again, it's USA Today, so like people are checking Wall Street Journal before they're checking USA Today. I'm not trying to be rude, but
Yeah,
like
just what
it's
it is.
obvious why this didn't go viral and the Wall Street Journal one did. Now, we certainly don't want to be now. If there has never been a more eating for free ass statement made by a celebrity, I am challenging our listeners to find something that is more eating for free. Okay, quote, we certainly don't want to be exactly like any other network. And I know that Great American Family will focus on tradition. That's something that's important, to have people of all ethnicities in movies, but we're going to focus on traditional families.
It's like we're moving around and like things are happening, but like nothing's happening and we're not moving around and nothing means anything.
Peoples and bodies and spaces moving through
shapes, maybe
rooms.
colors, certain colors.
I'm going to read that again, just in case it
I
wasn't.
like really am trying.
Just in case it wasn't clear the first time, I'm going to make it less clear the second time. Quote, we certainly don't want to be exactly like any other network, and I know that Great American Family will focus on tradition. That's something that is important, to have people of all ethnicities in the movies, but we're going to focus on traditional families.
But that's
Yes.
something that is important.
Not people of all ethnicities are included in the traditional families. There's the people of ethnicities
It's like saying-
over here, and then the traditional families
No,
are over here.
that's what I was about to say. I'm like, you're actually telling on yourself in a way that's like kind of concerning and terrifying. It was already,
I
but
think we've shot past concerning. Like, I think we're strictly in alarming territory now.
You're right.
Okay, no, it gets funnier.
Yeah,
Abbott
funny's the
says,
word.
quote, we always want to be inclusive, and it's certainly always an area of focus.
Could that just be like our new bio?
And just in case it needs to be resaid, after Abbott left, Hallmark like doubled down on the diversity stuff and was like, all of our movies are going to be movies about everything now. We're going to have a Kwanzaa movie. We're going to have a Hanukkah movie. We're going to have gay people. We're going to have people of color.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
they really doubled down in a way that seemed to like be expressly designed to like basically sanitize the company of Bill Abbott's influence, to be like,
Clearly.
look, Hallmark doesn't stand with that weird shit. Now, I'm not saying that it wasn't like a cynical business decision to quote unquote
for money.
Get with the times.
The only reason they're really doing a lot of this is because it's profitable.
All of this is about money.
It's all about
Let's be
profitability.
clear.
Honey.
This is all about money.
You think you're going to take down the Hallmark card industry, Mama? That's the other $1 billion that we don't talk about. Like,
I could go to the local mall and walk into a Hallmark store. I don't think I could walk into the Great American Family store. So,
exactly.
And we know malls are the number one power source in America.
Hallmark's like, this Mama's the 360 experience.
So that's all we've got for you today. Now, to give you a
That's a
little
place
bit
to
of
end
a
it.
taste of next week, we not only are going to talk a little bit more about Bill Abbott's exit from Hallmark, we're also going to get into the stuff that he has said about Lori Loughlin and her becoming the face of the network.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
And most importantly, 2 different interviews he gave. One specifically being to like one of those like Christian fundy mommy blogger websites, for like Christian parenting, as well as his ties to Movie Guide, which is like a right-wing Christian consulting group that's kind of like 1 Million Moms, where their whole thing is like, we're telling you which movies have Christian values and like we're trying to rid Hollywood of evil. So, there's a lot going on in part 2, and we are only going to further kind of unwrap the many layers of Bill Abbott and the Hallmark Channel. We hope you all tune in, but I hope this was a fun little taste of things to come, as well as just really like a look into something that I think I am very passionate about, which is the Christmas movie holiday season, as well as
where's Lifetime in all this?
Hallmark.
Has Lifetime just like been, like dodging bullets and staying neutral?
I hate to say this.
Or is Lifetime like also pushing for the gays?
I hate to say this, but like Lifetime is like the prestige network and all of this. Like,
you're like, these are just like pawns.
Like Hallmark is like looking down at all of this, like, that's weird. Because they're like kind of above the fray. I think Lifetime has been, I wouldn't say it's more inclusive in a lot of ways, but it has certainly felt a lot more progressive.
Is it at least not
of its programming?
It's not
and
like trying to push is like fundamentally basic kind of stuff.
I think the thing is that the Hallmark Channel started out of Hallmark cards, which are like inherently like Christian, American tradition.
There's lots of Bible cards and
Lifetime is women's programming.
Yes.
So by definition, a channel that's like designed exclusively with women's content in mind, in my opinion, is going to be inherently more progressive. And I'm not saying progressive politically, but just in terms of subject matter, tone. I mean, Lifetime...
But Lifetime also does like true crime kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, Lifetime has the true crime
dramas
element.
and scandals.
It also has
cheating.
the dramas. Lifetime also has had lots of successful...
It's not as like puritanical.
Listen, y'all might not think so, okay? Y'all might not think so, but Lifetime has had some successful TV shows, okay? You grew up in Christian country when it was an event every week, sitting down with the family to watch Army Wives. Okay,
oh my God.
I was in the trenches.
You were in the trenches. Absolutely,
I was in the trenches. Okay, guys, everyone, come on, get your dinner. We're gonna. It's Army Wives night. So I just think that Lifetime has seen a lot more success for itself in original programming, as well as like quote unquote progressive original programming. Army Wives dealt with all kinds of topics like rape in the military, sexual identity, divorce, like infidelity.
At least they're like wading in waters that are like
drugs,
interesting and
alcohol,
complicated.
that kind of thing. Yeah. So like, I'm just saying that like Lifetime, I don't even think is in this conversation because it is like way more of a cable institution than Hallmark is. I think Hallmark, outside of the Christmas countdown, is sort of a non-factor in most people's lives. Like, I think besides the fact that they play these movies 24/7, like, that's the thing. This is their Super Bowl. This is what makes Hallmark money on TV. The rest of the year, it really is a non-entity. Whereas if you go into, I would say, most homes in the suburbs, there is maybe a 50% chance that the person in that home is maybe watching the Lifetime network at one point in the day in all seasons.
You're right. No, that
So
makes
anyways,
sense. That makes sense.
It's been a really fun episode, guys. And like I said, I really have grown up obsessed with the Lifetime, Hallmark, and now Great American Family trifecta. You know, this is the kind of thing I come from, you know, being a former evangelical child, like growing up in the church, like all of these things have kind of haunted me my whole life. So,
I mean, they want to put you right fucking back.
you know, I was
where
definitely
you were in that childhood.
when I had a staff writing job, you know, I definitely probably annoyed the shit out of my editors being like, guys, we need to cover the holiday Christmas movie wars. Like, it's important. Like,
don't realize
this
that
matters to people.
America
It
is
literally life or
fighting
death.
in the streets.
And literally, little did we know what was coming, right? Like, little did we know.
It's really all connected.
So stay tuned next week, guys, for part 2 of our Christmas series. It was going to round out the year for us. We are going to put out a small episode in the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's going to be a smaller episode. It's just going to be us kind of like talking about some of our best
End
and
of the
worst,
year kind of
you know,
moment.
most memorable or most haunting stories of the year.
There's so
kind
many
of
things.
looking
There's
back.
so many things I forgot about that I would love to look at.
We also want to implore you all to send us letters or emails or tweets or DMs. Our DMs at _eating for free on Twitter are always open. So if there's anything you want to talk to us about or mention or ask questions about, you know, very much a Q&A vibe, please send those to at _eating for free on Twitter or eatingforfreepodcast@gmail.com. You can also send that to me. I'm Laura Croft Barbie on Twitter, and that's _Matthew Lawson on Twitter. You can email us. You can get to our Instagram. All of those links are in
Reply
our
to our
bio
posts,
or
me.
on our website, eatingforfree.com. We have merch at eatingforfree.com/merch. You can support us on Patreon, which really, guys, I think is the future for us.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, we're growing quite rapidly as a podcast. We're getting a lot of new listeners and you guys keep talking about us. So I suspect, you know, I hope, fingers crossed, that we just keep getting to do this the way that we do it now. And supporting us on Patreon, we can't stress it enough, really helps keep us ad-free. It's not something that I think we're under threat of, you know, taking on advertisers. I think politically speaking, we're both kind of against the idea.
I can't even imagine
of
what advertiser
ad reads.
I'd even ever consider seriously.
Especially because so many advertisers are places like BetterHelp or whatnot, you know,
God.
places that we are
Hell
like
no.
politically misaligned with.
Absolutely.
So we're going to stop talking
not
about
be-
Patreon in the new, not stop talking about Patreon.
Oh,
but,
no, we're not.
You know, we're promoting it now because it is the end of the year and
Yeah.
these kinds of things are important. But, you know, I promise we're going to get a little less heavy handed with the Patreon advertising commentary next year. But, you know, it's been a really fun year and we'll see you next week, guys.
Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Okay. Now they're like, enough is enough.
They're like,
They're like, shut it,
they
Ross
turned this
Math-
off a minute ago.
Shut the fuck up, Ross Matthews. Michelle Visage is trying to
I'll
speak.
never forgive you for doing that to me.
Yes, you will. I'm going to make you order me pizza when we're done.
I forgive you.
3, 2, 1.
Goodbye.
Gays, they're trying to murder me.
Come on, if you know the words, let's go.
What do I think of her?
Yes?
I don't think of her.
Bitch. Glass of red wine and a swisher. I think you get the picture, bitch.
Here I go. Oh,